Welcome back to another Pattaya podcast. We are Friday night down at Le Pub. I'm Misteregg and I have a co-presenter and a special guest. So first of all, co-presenter.
It's Friday night down at the pub and it's Balloon Chaser.
Hello. Nice to have you with us. And a special guest is a man, and if you're watching this on YouTube, he's very much a man who's confident in pink. I like that. It's Richard. Hello, Richard.
Hi, Phil.
Now,
Hi, Balloon Chaser. How you guys doing?
How you doing, mate? Yeah.
We're okay. Now, this feels like deja vu because we've already recorded a podcast, but unfortunately, for some unbeknown reason, there was a technical issue.
I mean, I don't know who is responsible, do you?
No, well, I don't.
I do remember that we were sat here and we were getting a lecture off Phil about don't forget to get the mic close to your
Do
mouth.
this, do
Breathe
that.
over the top of the mic. Don't do this, don't do that. And then we recorded the best podcast in the history of Le Pub.
And what happened?
I don't know, mate.
Low bar, by the way. When you get three people, it's always 2 against 1. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm on the pink team.
It was my
Team
fault.
Pink.
It's been said before. I'm definitely in the pink team.
It was my fault. It was my fault. We recorded it, but unfortunately, we had perfect sound coming out of the mixer, but unfortunately, the software was recording the sound coming out of one of the cameras and not the mixer.
I mean, in a blame-free culture, it was Phil's fault.
Yeah, I'm not blaming anybody, but it was Phil's fault.
Yeah. Glad we got that out of the way, yeah.
So you've been back to the UK since we recorded this podcast that no one's heard. You've been back to the UK and you're back here again. Now, for those people that are tuning in, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, my name's Richard Laycock. The perfect
Stop
Pattaya.
the sniggering. No sniggering in the back.
Likes to be called Dick. or not.
Well, been called worse, as we all know. But, yeah, Richard Laycock, perfect Pattaya porn star name, that. Dick Laycock. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, does it?
In Le Pub.
in Le
So, Dickie, tell us about yourself.
So, from Hereford originally, and I love Pattaya. I've stumbled there a little bit. Apologise for that. But, yeah, a little bit about myself. Love travelling more than anything, and Pattaya just seemed to be the home.
But I have it on good authority that you've been here a few times in the last 18 months.
So, this time now is the 13th time post-COVID. So, yeah,
Wow.
Obsessed. Question mark?
Hold on, post-COVID. That
How many
means
years
after
is that then?
COVID.
Yeah.
So since COVID, you've
Yeah.
been here 13 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's in about 4 years, is it? My maths is terrible.
In 18 months. So,
Oh.
yeah, there's a couple of reasons why it was so much. Was because I didn't plan on coming here for that many times. But I'd go up in the north, I'd go to Chiang Mai and I think, bored of this. Right, flight, straight back down here. Because as we know, internal flights in Thailand is just so cheap.
Yep.
So in total, it's my 10th time in Thailand, but 13th time in Pattaya. Because it just kept coming back.
So you're a single guy. You live in England, and you come here on holiday quite often. So that actually is quite a lot of people that are listening to the podcast.
Yep.
So you are a very good representative of the listening public to our podcast.
I'd like to think so. Because it's...
This is what I want to know, because I had one of these myself, which is, what's the shortest amount of time between touching down in the UK and taking off to come back to Thailand?
Just gone. So, actually, no. So in March, it was 5 days. So, yeah.
5 days!
And I'm
The
that
thing
much of a
is,
clown.
Like the crew on the airport had to stay in UK longer than that.
Yeah, I know. I stayed with them. No, but so I landed on the Sunday evening.
Yeah.
And I flew back on the Friday evening.
I mean, there is this thing that we all say as soon as you get back, book your next holiday. But you take it to the extreme, Dickie.
Had you like forgotten to give your key in at the hotel or something? Was that what it was?
Yeah, it's just walking around with this clattering key in my pocket.
Better take it back because you can get into trouble, if you don't return your key.
£1,000 fine, so better get back.
So this particular trip you're on now, how long's this one?
So unfortunately, I'm actually going back on Sunday. So it's been 12 days this trip.
Okay.
So
And has it been? So we're recording this in the end of September. How is Pattaya September 2023?
Joe, it's been brilliant, absolutely fantastic. 2 nights ago, I was in Tree Town. That's the busiest I've seen Tree Town in the last 18 months. I've never seen it like. Sorry, Phil. Not
Yeah, cheers. The bar's really quiet at the moment. Thanks.
It's all those people going over from Walking Street, I suppose. Is that what it was?
But it was just. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just that specific evening, but it was great. It was brilliant.
What about other areas? So did you go to Soy 6?
So I haven't, because when you have a lady in tow, it's not. I took her to Kink once.
Dickie has a lady. You
My
have a
goodness.
lady.
Just the one.
Yeah.
So was that on this trip you went to Kink? Or-
No. That
That would be
December.
with your ex-girlfriend.
Unfortunately,
Richard,
it was the
I've-
same
That's why
girlfriend.
she's your
It was
ex-girlfriend,
such
I'm
a
guessing
big
that.
mistake.
Yeah.
The level of shock and horror.
I've
in
met
her
your
face.
girlfriend, and she's lovely.
She's
right?
brilliant.
She doesn't work in a bar. She works in a factory.
Yep.
So you're talking about her reaction, because I used to be the manager of Windmill, Baby Dolls, which are hands-on bars, or have been. I mean, Baby Dolls is no longer, and I used to look at the front door as guys came in, and if they were with a lady, I could always tell if she was like somebody who was used to this sort of thing or was new to the game, because it would be that look of, I wouldn't say horror. It's kind of 50% horror and 50% excitement, isn't it?
An intriguement.
I mean, yeah.
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 But you never know what people's reactions are going to be. This one involves you, Phil, because many years ago, my aged mother and sister came over to Pattaya, and they said, "We've heard about Pattaya. We want to see some of the nightlife." Now, bearing in mind, even then, my mother would have been in her 80s or something like that. So they went to Secrets first.
Who was the manager of Secrets?
Well, I can't remember.
It's a secret.
But despite that, it was still quite a good place, actually.
It's me. I made your family feel so nice.
we were sat in Secrets, and there was girls dancing around poles in bikinis. But I was looking at my mother's face, and I was thinking, I'm a bit worried whether she's shocked by this. I was going, "Mother, you okay with the dancing girls?" She's like, "Son, get out of the way. I can't see the girl in the bikini." So they love that. So, okay, you push your luck a little bit. So then they said, "Well, is there anything else that you do?" Well, it was back in the day, because do you remember you took me, Phil, to TJ, the late TJ's bar?
Coyotes. What a bar that was, yeah.
Where was that?
So that was...
what year would that be?
Soy Marine. That got knocked down. That building got knocked down about 2011, 2012. So that must have been about 2004. No, because Secrets didn't open until 2006. So between those years, it would have been
somewhere
sometime
around
like
there.
that.
Soy
yeah.
Marine. That's one
Yeah.
I'm not too.
It's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore. That building was knocked down a long time ago. It's
Yeah.
the back of one of, I think it's Janat Indian nightclub. It's the back of it now.
Right. Okay.
But we went there because they wanted to see something else, and I thought they always got some nice shows on there back in the day, beautiful girls, and poor old TJ. Do you remember he was so good on the microphone, wasn't he? He was always on the microphone.
He was a Australian guy, former stripper, but a real personality. Unfortunately, no longer with us, but just a real big personality. And he used to get on the microphone in TJ's.
So I'm walking in
Radio
with
mic.
my aged mother and my sister, having a successful visit to Secrets with a wonderful host there at the time. And as we walked through the door at TJ's bar, TJ was on the microphone. he looked up, he went, "You're just in time for the lesbian lick-off." Like, oh. So, yeah, that was the end of that night.
The lesbian lick-off was a highlight of the evening. Yeah.
It would have been.
Wow.
Had I been allowed to stay.
It's a bit like what's in the fridge from your hotel review videos.
Much in the same vein,
It's
mate.
the highlight, yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody who remembers Coyote, I've always said it was the best go-go bar ever. Put something in the comments if you're listening on YouTube or you're watching on YouTube, because that would be interesting to know. Any memories of Coyote is lovely. And hi to Dean, who does listen to the podcast and was the former co-owner of Coyotes. There was quite a lot of owners actually over the years. So getting back now, you've said that Tree Town was good. You didn't go Soy 6. How about 7? Walking Street, what are those areas doing at the moment?
So 7's booming. I mean, got to give a shout out to Nick and his bars and what he's doing down on Soy 7. Top bloke, by the way.
Yeah, agreed.
And he's just revitalised that. And that I felt was great soy and really enjoyed going down there. And Tree Town, obviously I've just mentioned that one. But I went down LK. That's so from post-COVID, I've seen a big change in LK. It's almost the go-go soy now.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
it was always, before COVID, there was probably 60% go-go bars, a few beer bars, but now it just seems to be completely all go-go's now.
It's very heavy on that front. So,
And the thing about LK, during the rainy season, it's good to go there because it's really easy to just pop out of one bar and pop into another.
well, I have the story. So I was in this bar. Won't name the bar, but it was a great little bar, and it was about 10 o'clock, and then all of a sudden the rain just hit biblically. So I'm thinking, right, okay, it was me and my mate there at this time. What do we do now? Well, let's just order more drinks. So it's selective audience then, isn't it?
Yeah.
So pick it a bunch. Nice. So you have to deviate, stop at a street vendor for food first before you get back to your hotel, don't you? But yeah, great.
So, having said that, you've been here a few times post-COVID. Talk to us about the big picture since the pandemic. Because that's what we really wanted to sort of narrow down on in this podcast is what has changed from a regular punter's point of view since the big pandemic. And I'll keep the ball rolling. I'll say for me, clearly Walking Street has been, they've had a lot of money spent on it. It's been resurfaced, it's been remodeled, the signs have come down. But not only that, for me, the character of the street has changed a little bit in that there are certainly a lot more, let's just call them green shops that are knocking around there. And also the rise of sort of Indian discos towards the Bally High end. What are your feelings about Walking Street since the pandemic?
So initially during not during the pandemic, I suppose actually it was because it was March last year. I actually really loved coming to Pattaya during that period. So if I'll say for 9 months, so from March till maybe, last year actually, this is last year, it was great because the bars weren't busy, but they were fun. There was every bar had something going on. Granted, they closed at 11, shutter came down, some may have opened, some might have not stayed open, who knows. But Walking Street in itself, I had a great story about Walking Street. It was me and a couple of guys from Birmingham, and we'd gone up to 808 above Candy Bar.
Yeah.
And we'd bought a bottle of whiskey initially and some mixes, as you do, around the table. And then we pay a security guard a couple of $100 each. And the next thing you know, we got private security around us. And I've never felt like a Don more in my life. It was absolutely
Movie star, mate.
Oh,
Movie
it was
star.
mega.
Not
So-
even going out in Hereford.
No, exactly. Going out in Hereford, we boy tonight. So yes, yeah. So I'll go back that was my Hereford accent.
Oh, right, right.
Just in case you didn't know.
We don't have subtitles on a podcast, do I don't know?
It's, for those people that don't know, Hereford's rather rural, small market town.
Rural, yeah.
Small market town.
We have a lot of sheep in fields. I don't know what they do, but I can't make the cow joke again because I did that last time and I rewatched that about 17 times. My ego was Hereford. I've recorded it for 16 seconds. I did a screenshot. I love that little joke I did. Sorry, guys, I can't repeat it. But anyway,
so you're in 808. You've got
yeah,
all
I'm
the
in
security around you.
808. So, and then the next thing, so the ladies are coming over in their droves. The security guards are batting them up. They're not. They're just saying no to the left, to the right. But and then it got to the point where there was a lot of girls around us, where the foreigners, the Falangs, are, who are those guys? Because then we get escorted into a VIP section.
Is it James Corden?
He don't wear pink. But yeah, you know, it was brilliant. So in that sort of thing, like the one thing I say about Pattaya throughout the whole process of this is there's no right or wrong way to holiday in Pattaya. You can do it whatever way you want to.
Yeah, correct.
You can bell ring for the life. You can sit in a quiet bar. Do whatever you want.
Would you say that experience, and you're saying that was during quieter times, put it like that,
Yeah.
were closing early.
Yeah.
Would you say that the staff generally, the girls, the security, the taxi drivers, everybody was a little bit more customer focused, shall we say? And now has that eroded away a little bit in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it has. Unfortunately, it was because they needed that income. They needed that support.
It's funny though, because coincidentally, I'm at my best when people are poor and desperate. Don't know why it is. But the more poor and desperate they are, the more popular I become.
You seem to be really handsome, didn't you?
I have. When it was actually lockdown, I was one of the most handsome blokes here.
I think I've told the story many times that during lockdown, I spent a considerable amount of time with a lady who is now a top model showgirl in Pin-Up, a go-go. And she used to travel down from somewhere in Rayong. I've forgotten where it was, to come and see me, and she'd stay for a couple of days, and that relationship unfortunately ended because she messaged me and asked me to send her some money because her cat was ill.
Oh, wow.
Well, I think that's what she was on about anyway. Can you send some money for my cat?
Did she actually say cat?
Unless she was using Google Translate and it
she needed to go to a clinic, is what she was saying.
Her cat was ill. Could I send some money? And I said...
Was it dribbling?
No, but it had whiskers. And I says no, and she blocked me.
Oh, wow.
And then I remember I went in... The only time since that I've been into Pin-Up, I went with my mate from Australia. And they sat us down, as they do in Pin-Up, on this sort of sofa in the middle of nowhere because we weren't important enough. And guess who's dancing on the stage? Like, there's all these little... If you haven't been to Pin-Up, there's all these little stages as well as the main stage. And she's trying so hard to ignore me, you know, turning her back on me and everything. And then I kind of just went round, like, I deliberately just says, "Hi, how you doing?" This is... "How's your cat?"
Is it still dribbling?
Yeah.
Mrs. Slocum's cat, eh?
and I bought her a drink, and she's, you know, made up, I suppose. Anyway, so Balloon Chaser.
Yes, mate.
I've asked our guest about Walking Street and post-COVID. What are your thoughts about the whole scene since COVID?
I think. You know, there's a whole load of people now, like I mentioned earlier, who are looking back to when it was lockdown and going, that was the golden age.
The golden age.
Because at the time we were all moaning about it and saying, get the place opened, we need it to be opened up for all sorts of reasons. But actually, for those that were here at the time, it was a great time to be here.
And the thing is, you can make that statement and nobody can argue with you because they weren't here.
Yeah.
So, well, how do you know? You weren't here. It was the golden age, and it was the golden age of Pattaya. So we locked down, first of all, sort of March time, this is 2020, and then we opened again about 3 months later. And it was that, between then and the second lockdown, which was in December. That was the golden age of Pattaya.
Yeah.
It just seemed to hit Pattaya, Thailand with a vengeance. The rest of the world was all on lockdown.
Yeah.
And then it just slowly crept in, and that was it.
And then
down.
when we locked down a second time, and then we realised that one of the routes kind of out of it was going to be, real heavy lockdown. And by the way, people can argue about this whenever. It doesn't really matter. It's gone now. Talking about we had to get everyone vaccinated, and we got vaccinations, but they were the wrong ones. They were the Chinese ones that were rubbish, and so on and so forth. It then went completely the opposite way. Pattaya was the place to be in 2020, but in 2021 it was just complete nightmare, and it was that's when it really struck. And actually, it was about that time. Not wanting to talk about me, but that's the time when I seriously gave considerations for going home, because I just thought that's it.
During that time, genuinely, people were so pleased to see you, and I'm not just talking about girls who worked in bars or anything like that, but it was down to the tuk-tuk drivers, the people in the shops, everything. They were genuinely pleased to have your custom, or just genuinely pleased that foreigners were still in the country. They seem like. But then obviously since then it's kind of flipped over a bit, and a lot of that goodwill seems to be in the past again, and it's business as usual.
It's diluted massively. Here's a stat for you guys, which I read, and in 23, Pattaya in the world is the most visited country, number 15.
Actually, I think that data came from a really, really old survey from about 3 years ago, before COVID. I'm not suggesting it's not true, but I think it was. Yeah, it was I think that was a MasterCard survey that was from a long time ago. But it is true. I mean, Thailand had the most visited places. Thailand had 3 out of the top 15, and
Bangkok,
Pattaya was
Phuket.
it was Bangkok, Phuket, and Pattaya. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just for an interesting talking point, and we were going to talk about for those people that are listening to the podcast on places like Spotify and they're not watching on YouTube. We have got a YouTube channel, and this is going to be on our YouTube channel. And on our YouTube channel, we do various videos, and one of them was recently about things that girls don't like about us, basically, and it's been very popular. And I remember me and my producer, Balloon Chaser, says, where should we film this? And we said, we need somewhere with loads of girls. Where's loads of girls? And I said, there's this coffee shop up in Jomtien. We thought, we can't bother to go there. Let's go to Bali High. Bali High, loads and loads of people walking around. And we filmed it, and the backdrop was basically, there was a lot of Chinese tourists that day. There was a lot of Chinese tourists, and a lot of people were commenting in the comments, oh, it looks like Taiwan. It looks like Beijing. Ooh. And I thought, do you know, 3 years ago to the day, we were filming in Bali High, and there was people sitting where all the coaches were parked and the tour buses were parked. There was people sitting there waiting for free food handouts. And
it wasn't just like people sitting; it was like a long line, wasn't it?
And if you talk,
Beach Road,
if you talk to those people, if you actually physically talk to them instead of just listening to the rubbish that was on social media, and they said, we really, really need the Chinese tourists back, because we work in the hotels, we work in the restaurants, we work on the boats, we work selling sunglasses, and the Chinese tourists aren't here, and so we've got to work food handlers. And now the Chinese tourists are back, and people are on my, just annoyed me, there was only 1 or 2, but people are on my social media going, oh, it looks like Beijing. Yeah, well,
and the same true for Indian tourists as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's hotels, like I visited a hotel very close to Le Pub that's largely populated by Indian people.
Is that the Beverly?
It might well be.
The Beverly you've stayed in the YouTube suite.
I stayed in the YouTube suite. I wasn't the first, but I wasn't the last either.
Just explain that the Beverly Hotel is a lovely hotel.
Very much.
Actually, it was the first hotel that started taking in, remember when Thai nationals were repatriated back into Thailand on flights, and then they had to do quarantine for like 2 weeks or whatever? That was one of the first hotels that was actually housing the Thais that were coming back in. But now, like, there's a lot of it's promoting itself, and it seems to be going down the social media way.
Yeah.
And so the whoever it is, the promotions lady there, is contacted every single YouTuber.
Well, not only that, if anyone walks in looking like, this is a top tip really, if you walk in looking like a YouTuber,
Yeah. You'll get upgraded to the
then
YouTube suite.
You get put in the YouTube suite, which is a lovely room actually, lovely room. And I got to speak to the owner on the second day, and he was saying that obviously predominantly they have Indian guests there now, and sometimes that can be seen to be a problem or possibly.
Yeah.
But he said the bottom line is this: if it wasn't for the Indian tourists, we wouldn't have a hotel anymore. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And that's true with Chinese, with Indian visitors, and obviously the main visitors now to Pattaya, in terms of the massive numbers that come to Pattaya, if you look at the top 5 visitors into Pattaya, they will all be from basically Asian countries rather than European or America.
An unpopular viewpoint here, and people might hate me for this, but
Well, we don't have to hate you for that, do we?
no, there's many a reason.
I mean, you come from Hereford.
Put it on
We
the
don't
list.
need.
Put it on your list, mate.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, Phil. But yeah, do you know what? The Chinese, the Indian tourist, it's mass tourist. It's great for the economy. The local street vendors, they thrive on that.
Yeah.
And it's needed. As much as we want to be this selfish Westerner where I don't want anybody around me, I want to be the King Lord. Sorry, guys, but I feel
this is our city. It was always our city. Why are they coming to our city?
Absolutely. It's not. It's for everybody. And that's what Pattaya is all about. This city is for everybody, guys.
Yeah. It's United Nations. You're right, yeah. I mean, one thing I have noticed on Walking Street, which really does annoy me, the Chinese don't bother me whatsoever because I think they're quite sort of cute, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's some nice, cute girls walking around as well.
There are,
and
indeed.
there does seem to be this fashion for young Chinese visitors for. Do you know what I'm going to say?
No.
Chaser? Dressing up as
Schoolgirls.
Oh, my
students.
goodness.
Can we say students?
My goodness. Well, you can say schoolgirls because that is. I mean, they were hiring out suits, were they not?
Yes.
They were hiring out school uniforms.
Yes.
By the hour, at like regular shopping centres, like
Yes.
I don't know, Terminal 21, but whatever, regular shopping centres, for girls to dress up as schoolgirls.
Chinese tourists.
Yeah, mainly Chinese tourists, and walk around.
But can
In
I say?
Pattaya.
But can I say? Do you know when you've got like a piece of maybe art, and there's a lady who's pretending to cosplay, shall we say, a student, and the way she does it is put her hair in pigtails, right? Whatever. But she's clearly over 30, right? And a mature student, shall we say, right? There are a few of those as well. There are some Chinese tourists that are clinging onto this fashion that clearly should move on.
I mean, the thing about it, those suits were quite cheap to hire out,
Yeah.
but apparently, if you kept them too long, it was worth flying back from the UK just to return your school uniform. That's how much the fines were.
The secret's out.
Yeah.
Richard's a cosplay student.
The laundry lady loved me.
Now we know.
Back again. You
Now-
were only here 2 hours ago.
Now we know why he's in a pink shirt. Yeah, so the Chinese don't bother me. And people say, oh, they don't spend money, you know. They do spend money. They spend money in places that we don't go to, like restaurants, trinket shops, whatever. Duty free. I mean, it's absolutely packed there. Duty free, and you know, there are businesses. Like there's that huge place now just by Teppersit, 79. Have you seen that?
79.
79. I think it's the
No,
same people.
I went to the one 10 doors down from there.
Stop it.
Sorry.
It would be 5 doors down, actually. Odds and evens. No, but I think it's the same people. Either the number 79 is really lucky in China, or because there's a 79 go-go bar now on Walking Street, which is Chinese owned, and I think he's probably got the best lineup at the moment. Yeah, because they're paying ridiculously stupid money. So all these people that say that the Chinese don't spend money, go to 79, the go-go, look at the lineup there, and the reason that they've got the top lineup in Pattaya is because they're paying stupid money. And guess what? The customers, who are mainly Chinese, are paying stupid money as well.
Yeah.
But there's also a 79 kind of a eatery, massive, great big place right off Teppersit Road. And that is absolutely packed full of coaches and tour buses of the Chinese. So the Chinese spend money.
They do. So it's not Pattaya related, but so a couple of years ago, it was my mum's 60th birthday. I took her to Vietnam. We're in Nha Trang, and there was this massive long table, and there was just Jack Daniels, all along this whole table. And my mum said to me, she's like, what's going on here? And I said, that will either be for show, or it'll be a group of Chinese tourists.
Yeah.
And they filled the whole table. And I mean, they must have spent a shed loads amount, because there wasn't a dry bottle of Jack Daniels left at the end of it.
There is a
they spent.
there is a bottle service culture in Southeast Asia, isn't there?
Yeah.
They just do that. Yeah.
The only thing we saw more of when we went to film at Bali High than Chinese tourists was police and security.
Yes, and the reason for that is there's been quite a uptick, if you like, in incidents of, and I've always said this to people, if you go to Bali High and you want to go to the island, which is Koh Lan, walk past all the hawkers, walk past all the people trying to sell you speedboats, and just get on the ferry, because the ferry's what, 30 minutes?
30 minutes and 30 baht in it.
Yeah,
20 baht.
still 30 baht.
And the speedboat is maybe, it shaves 10 minutes off it. But it's like
complimentary sick at the end of it as well.
They do bounce something down a bit.
Yeah. They do, right. But those speedboat touts, if you like, have got out of hand, and there has been incidences of fights that have broken out between touts. And now, actually, when we went to film that video, which we're talking about 5 things that women don't like about us. By the way, there's another 5 coming up next week.
And the week after.
Series 2, episode 4.
But this one's called 5 Things Girls Don't Like About Misteregg. But no, when we went to film that, we noticed that the hawks, if you like, the speedboat private hire people had all got little individual sort of points now, price area where you can pay, like little sort of tents that have been set up for each one.
It's like the technical area in a football game, something like that.
Absolutely, yes, to use a sporting analogy. So that's changed. But I did notice that there was an awful lot of those around, and there was a lot of police. And unfortunately, there has been an incident. There's an incident this week where a ferry boat driver had a heart attack. Not a driver. It's a captain, isn't it?
Probably captain,
unfortunately died. And then there was an incident on Koh Lan itself where a speedboat driver, accidentally during dusk, so it was low light, went into one of the swimming areas and killed 2 people. So
a Thai and a Russian, wasn't it?
And I think I think the Thais really try hard to curry favour with the Chinese and keep everything on a positive level. For example, there was an incident where there was a shooting at a nightclub, and can I just say, this very, very rarely happens, right? But there was an incident where there was a fatal shooting outside a nightclub in a car park about a year ago, and unfortunately it was mistaken identity, and a Chinese tourist got shot dead, and it was completely hushed up. Nobody talked about it, nothing, because it was such a sensitive subject between the Chinese and the Thais. But getting back to Walking Street, I mentioned the green shops, and I also mentioned the fact that there was a lot of Indian discos, which doesn't really bother me. But the one thing that really gets on my nerves about the Indian discos is the fact that their hello staff are all male, number one, and they all just form a line over the whole of Walking Street outside their club. And so I say it's almost like going through security at sort of Mumbai airport. It is like they literally, I've got to make a video about this, because they literally manhandle people. They drag them into those clubs, and I don't know if it's a cultural thing. Maybe there's anybody from that part of the world that can comment down below. But if they did that in the West, there would be serious problems. But maybe it's just like they're used to that sort of thing. It's like somebody's tried from India's tried to explain it to me, and it says it's like a bro culture, because like a lot of it's not the same. There isn't the dating scene that there is in the West, and so they tend to, all their mates, they're far more not intimate with them, but they're sort of more hands-on with them, because a lot of those people in India have arranged marriages, and so there isn't the courting and there isn't the dating culture, and they're used to, you know, guys just grabbing them and moving them into a nightclub. But it can be a real negative. That's the only negative I've got to say about Walking Street at the moment. Because
there's a couple of new openings I saw as I walked down.
There's no need to talk about my girls like that. Yes, so 2 doors down from Sugar Baby on the land side rather than the seaside, there's a big club that's opening. I'm not quite sure the ownership of that. Since we've done the last podcast, the old Misty's a Go-Go, which was on Soy 15, that has reopened. It's now called Runway, which is a bit unfortunate because there's a Runway bar, very famous, Alex and everybody down there in Soy Honey. It's called Runway a Go-Go. I haven't been inside, but it's a bit strange because it's got female shows, so girls doing shows in it, but it's also got like male shows as well.
Have you seen what's that place on the right hand side as you walk into Walking Street from Beach Road, and have you seen it? It's got a picture of a man with a spanner in his hand.
What a tool!
Man with is this some kind of joke?
Oh no, it's not.
Oh, is it Thor? Is it is that the live music venue?
No.
Zeus.
Look,
Zeus.
What do you think? No one can see this, so this is bad practice.
Wow.
What is this going to be?
Big tool.
Oh dear!
There's a man with a spanner in his hand. He looks like. Do you remember when Martinez, the goalkeeper, won the World Cup?
Yes.
And held the trophy in a certain
With his
fashion.
glove.
Can I just say that it's a silhouette, the logo, and he's holding a spanner more towards his groin area.
He's looking like Emi Martinez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big tool, it's called.
Yeah.
I think it's nice that they've got like a DIY shop on Walking Street now.
Looks like it's ready to use as well.
It's good.
That's definitely put a spanner in the works, that one.
From the
Hey, he's here all day.
Unfortunately so.
So from the Walking Street sign up to, say, Soy 14, there's quite a lot of changes that have gone on there in the last few weeks. And it's, you know, it's exciting times. Everyone's getting ready. That bar Zeus that I told you about, Zeus was the old rock venue next to Skyfall, and it was very, very small. And what they did was they built like football kind of terracing.
Oh yeah, that one with the live music.
Yeah, so it's a live music band, but they built. I thought this was so clever at the time, but I've actually refunked this now and thinking it's not so clever. Rethought it. So they had kind of football style terracing.
Yeah.
And so wherever you were, however far back you went, you could still see Walking Street. And what most people like to do is people watch on Walking Street if it's an outside bar. So the band was kind of at the back, and then you got this terracing effect and you could see at the front. But my only thought about that was, obviously, the further back you got, the higher you got up. And the old concept of hot air rises. Yeah. And so towards the back, it must have been absolutely sweltering. And now what they've done now is they built this kind of, it's really weird to explain, but there's kind of a metal sort of front to it. And I don't know whether that's to try and put air conditioning inside, but
I think it did look good with that terracing down to Walking Street, but with the music at the back, it was like, are you going to crick your neck as you look around, and the music was behind you.
And obviously, in certain Southeast Asian cultures, turning your back on someone is really, really negative.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether the band, because basically, in my opinion of live music venues, is the band basically runs the venue. Oh, that's 100%. It. As soon as you get a band in there, well, that's it. It's all about them. And so I don't know whether the band says, well, we don't like playing to people's backs. Can we do something different? And so
it's
maybe
a funny place to have the band, I must admit.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, great views of Walking Street.
And it's very, very, very sort of grungy, really hardcore, like the people that really like Rammstein and stuff like that. That's where they like to go because it's really loud and it's really sort of grungy there.
Just following on from your point there about the band runs the bar.
Yeah.
So just slightly going off from Walking Street on Soy Bicao. Don't know if you guys can remember the old Puck Plaza.
Yes.
at the beginning of where Sugar is opposite there.
Oh, right,
yes,
right,
yes.
right.
And that didn't that turn into a big nightclub?
Yeah, called Warehouse.
Yes,
And
yes.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
yeah,
trance music. Me personally, I absolutely love trance music. Really enjoyed it.
It's very big in Hereford.
Yeah. And what I felt really struggled with that, they closed it all off. And then in that area, they were still restricted to the normal bar closing times.
Yeah.
But also, if you're paying if your beer is 180 baht, it's automatically going to put people off. So that got sold to Matador.
Yep.
That was on Tree Town.
Yeah.
And now I went there for a beer last night on Soy Bacau, and it was rammed. Absolutely rammed. The last time I went there,
It's
2
been
months
advertised as Thai music.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Or
ago.
not?
No.
No?
So the one that maybe you're thinking of is where the old Witherspoons was.
No, it was the old warehouse.
Oh, was
been
it?
Yeah,
advertised.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
gonna have
It
Thai
has been
superstars going there.
It has. There's been a lot of talk about that, but mainly the fact that it's got Thai owners now. Obviously, that lady who had the Matador on Tree Town,
Yeah.
she's moved there and took a big Thai audience and a sort of Thai culture with
Yeah.
it. And I only hear good things about it.
Honestly, I think the building itself, the guys before, they did a cracking job. But I just think they priced themselves out the market. In that area, 180 baht. I mean, you're struggling to find bars on Walking Street.
So so you went inside and bought a beer. Is it still 180?
No. 100 baht cap.
100 baht. Okay, interesting. But so they're obviously, and I hate this term, doing a numbers game. They're just assuming that they're going to get more customers go through the door.
Well, in that area,
Because it's going to be the same rent, it's going to be the same overheads.
I would have thought so. They've also put downstairs toilets in, which was part of the issue, I think, as well. Is that you had to, like back in the UK, I don't know when you guys were last there, but going to a Witherspoon's toilet, you have to walk about 2 miles to get there.
Okay.
But they've now put some in downstairs. The cages are still there, which is quite interesting, watching a Thai girl dance to AC/DC.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that price, 100 baht, that's relevant to that area.
Is there any other venues around that area that you can recommend?
Yeah, it's just loads. Voodoo down on Soy Honey is brilliant bar. I really like that. Went to the opening there 12 months ago. Not biased at all by any stretch of the imagination. It's 60 baht, happy hour up till 7. It's a great little bar. Tree Town, there's my favourite bar, apart from the pub. Had to get that in quickly, didn't I? Christ.
Oh, the pub, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just wondered where you meant for a minute.
Yeah.
There's a pub in Tree Town.
But in Tree, it's called Joy Bar, and it plays 80s music, and I love 80s music, and it's just brilliant.
Right.
It's just great.
And then it's Mist Night, Mystic. What was it?
Mist is a nightclub on.
No, the new bar's opening tomorrow. What's that?
Oh,
area?
Myth. Yeah.
I've been listening to Thai people. I think
the old Soy Made in Thailand.
Yeah, soy made
that's
in
tomorrow,
Thailand,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Opening or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a bit of a catastrophe, wasn't it? Catastrophe. Can't get my words out. But they ploughed it all down, and then they couldn't get planning for the condos. So then they've rebuilt all of the condos. No, they haven't.
All of the beer bars.
Beer bars, sorry. But actually, they look really good. I looked down
But
there.
in
the
my
other night.
opinion, Made in Thailand, that complex was showing its age a little bit, and it needed something new, rather like the Siren Beer Bar complex on
Beach Road.
Right at the front of at the entrance to Walking Street. Also, what is now. What is the name of the Frog complex?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Frogland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Frogland for me is just technically amazing. The beer bar complex, that is something that works as long as they can get the girls in there to work.
I feel that Frogland actually has revolutionised the beer bar complex.
Agree.
Because they've got it's one set of music.
Yeah.
It could be a live band.
Big screen at the back.
Yeah.
Good light show.
Yeah. And you're not jumping bar to bar, and you're not getting
Yeah.
different music. You're not getting Thai music to rap music to
Yeah.
dance music. And I actually think the lady who owned the original Frog Bar, she's done a superb job.
Yeah.
Fair play to her.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That looks amazing. One of the subtle things that you might not pick up on, but I picked up on quite right away, is they've got a lot of moving head lighting effects there.
Right.
And they get the moving heads right out into Walking Street. So you get these beams of light that go into Walking Street, and then a moving head will pivot, and so the light will then go into the Frog Bar.
Taking your attention
Yeah,
into the
taking
bar
your attention
area.
into the bar.
Yeah.
Very,
Nice.
very clever the way they do that. But I think the whole thing lives and dies on whether you get girls there or not. And the fact of the matter is, I've got like girls between 20 and 30 years old working at my bar Milk, which is on Soy Diamond, and I have to pay ridiculous amounts of money to get them to work, because I'm sorry, but those attractive, fun girls these days, they won't work for beer bar prices. So that's okay, but you've really got to put the beer prices up to be able to get those in there.
So
And I sometimes think it's a balance between, you go on about the music a lot, which is really
Yeah.
important, but it's the balance between looking fantastic and the music, and how much you're willing to pay for some sexy girls to be in there.
So, Phil, question for you as Le Pub owner and Milk owner. How has social media affected you and employing girls?
Employing girls, I think,
Or the quality, should we say, possibly?
I think social media certainly works for the bar as far as being able to promote, but I don't think you mean as a recruitment tool, or
Or yeah, maybe I've probably not worded that correctly, but the apps that they can get, Thai Friendly.
oh, okay.
Tinder.
There's certainly less girls around in the pool, if you like, but I still say that a lot of the girls do both. They'll work in a daytime job, whether that is in a 7-Eleven or pumping petrol or working in a bar, and then they'll do Thai Friendly as well. But I still say that girls in Thailand, in Southeast Asia, like to work in a kind of a community.
Yeah.
They like to work together. You do get one or two girls that don't like, they just want to work for themselves. They're their own boss, but they're pretty much few and far between. And so I still say that as long as you've got the feel, the vibe in the bar right, I think girls will still want to work in the bar. And that is why, by the way, you get the owners that tend to turn their back a little bit, or turn a blind eye to things like girls choosing the music. Because you can go into a bar, like you said, you like 80s music, but I can absolutely assure you that there are no girls, young, attractive girls in this town, that would want to sit in a bar and listen to 80s music all night.
Completely agree.
So then it's like, that's okay, as long as there's loads of people spending lots of money, buying lots of drinks. They'll sort of put it down as it's a work thing. But if there's not, then you just, things like music, things like aircon, whether or not the boss yak too much, those sort of things come into play. But I still say, on your general point, as far as the dating apps are concerned, there's always going to be, I live in the real world, there are always going to be these, it's 2023, people have got communication devices and they can talk by themselves. But I still say, I mean, how is it that I'd say maybe some nights 25% of the money that I take at the pub and Milk will be from either ex-staff or friends of staff that come in that just want to be around their friends and have a party, and they're Thai girls, and they're spending money. So I think there's still, it's getting eroded, but these people that are full of doom and gloom, that beer bars are doomed and nightclubs and the go-go bars are doomed, I think it's getting harder, but I still say that girls like to work as a team with their mates.
Security in numbers, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But and I do tend to find like the girls that work on Beach Road, for example.
The Coconut Bar.
The Coconut Bar. Do you know what? I was talking to someone who says, "You want to go and try the coconut bar? It's really good there." And you know, they went and they came back to me and says, "I walked all the way up and down Beach Road. I couldn't find that coconut bar anywhere. Where is it? It's not even on Google Maps." Slight communication issue. Yeah, I do tend to find that the girls that don't like to work as a team with friends tend to have a few issues going on.
Sure.
Whether that be with substance abuse or just mental health issues. I'm not saying all the girls on the coconut bar are loony, but I think that a girl that in Thailand that doesn't like to be around other people, that's not normal in Thai society.
Yeah. Although girls that like to turn up late and not be very good at timekeeping and stuff like that.
Well, that's all girls under 30.
Then that's the perfect
Yeah.
place for them in that sense, because in one way they don't have any rules and regulations, I guess.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. And I have to say, people say, "Oh, just the ultimate bar would be one there where there's all 20 to 25-year-old girls." Trust me, that would be an absolute nightmare to run because every time a girl phones in sick or a girl comes in late, it's a girl that is one of the young girls. Any girl that's over 30 that's been around for a little bit, always on time, always very working very diligently. It's always girls that are younger. I think that's just young people in general. I mean, look, without going into too much detail, you're a manager. You're a big manager of a big company, right? We won't say what, but you work with young people.
Yeah.
They have got a totally different mentality to people in, let's just say, it's quite a big Venn diagram, but our generation.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, originally when I was 16, I joined the army, and that gave me this level of discipline, and I've carried that on in my civilian life, and I just don't see it anymore. Unfortunately, recruitment in the UK is on its arse. The way that I see it, unfortunately, and I'm sorry guys if I offend you when I say this, is that people now of the generation that Phil said, they're under 25, they want an Instagrammable lifestyle at zero cost. They don't understand that actually to get that, you have to put the hours in, you have to make ends meet. Mummy and daddy cannot pay for your travels, for your life.
It's an interesting issue because there are those expats who live here, like Phil and myself, like 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. And I guess sometimes we're comparing life now here in Thailand with how we remember it back home, but 20, 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the things that probably are a bit annoying about being here with young people and the way they behave, they're probably just as bad, if not worse, back in the countries where we came from right now.
Yeah. I agree, and sometimes you get guys that are hanging around with girls that are 20, 25, 30 years, they're junior, and they'll complain about them. And then when I talk to them, I say, "Do you remember when you were their age?
Yeah.
Would you have wanted to have been around somebody, like yourself, for example?" Sometimes you have to say, look in the mirror, a little bit.
Do you want to be sat in a bar listening to 80s music with a fat man balding in a pink T-shirt? No, you don't.
So see you tonight at the pub, folks.
No, but honestly, Phil, you're true, is it? We go back to our youths.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want to do the same.
No.
No matter where you are globally, there's certain elements that translate across
The last normal job, and I use the word normal advisedly, the last normal job for a big company, with a HR department and everything. It wasn't even called HR department in those days. It was called...
do as you're told.
Oh, what was it called? Oh, I can't remember.
It probably was HR, no?
No, it wasn't called Human Resources. It was called something else. But anyway. Personnel, that was it. It's called Personnel.
Okay, I'll
right.
give you that.
Was the last proper job I had, I clocked off in 1999. So that is 24 years ago. So I've been out of proper working for a big organisation for 24 years. I worry that if I ever have to go back to the UK, and I'm not scared to go back to the UK, maybe health issues or maybe Le Pub and Milk will all go tits up and, I'll have to go home anyway. So it scares me a little bit because it's not the fact that I don't think I'm a good worker, that I'm very diligent, that, you know, I would turn up on time. It's just I don't know how to talk to people anymore. I don't know how to talk to people without offending them. Or
I thought milk was meant to go tits up, or I completely missed the point of it. I don't know.
Listen, guys, we've got 5 minutes left because we're going to run for an hour this podcast. It's been lovely talking to you, Richard. I don't want you to go just yet, but we're going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that is on my YouTube channel for those people that are tuning in on Spotify and Apple Music. So for those people that don't know, I make the videos. I'm obviously the talent, on-screen talent. But
some people do call you that.
But the real brains behind the operation is Balloon Chaser.
Nobody calls me that.
And you've got your own channel as well.
I have got my own channel.
So a few videos that we've done since the last podcast, or the last few videos that we've done.
Yeah.
So we've tackled the subject of waxing.
Waxing. You had the body wax.
Yeah.
That
So
you kept close to yourself for the best part of a year.
Yeah. So we recorded this video about 18 months ago, probably even longer. And in my opinion, it was so bad. My opinion, it was so bad. And it made me look like such a wuss, to use of a better term, because it was very painful having a body wax.
And in my opinion, that video was so good. So good. Because it made you look like a wuss. And therefore, it's true life.
Richard, have you seen the video?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you were as red as a tomato.
So
the yelps.
But there was for a long time there was like a running joke amongst me and Balloon Chaser, which was, oh, this is going to do as good as, or this is going to be another body wax video, because we just never ever put it out. But anyway, I got the flu, you'll be pleased to know, and I was incapacitated for a week, so we had to put that video out because we got nothing in the can.
Yeah, we couldn't make one, could we? So we had to put that out. It went
Wax
down
on,
very
wax
well.
off.
So we've done that. We've done a video about a brand new double-decker tour bus that is going around.
Yeah, the hop on, hop off bus.
Hop on, hop off bus. It's a red. It looks like a London bus, doesn't it?
It really
it's
does.
Really, the first time I saw it, I was driving around for, what the hell am I? Tottenham Court Road or somewhere. There was this red bus, double decker, and we've done a video about that. And it goes to different tourist destinations, but there is a kind of an elephant in the room in the fact that there's not really a lot of places.
There's
to go.
not really a lot of places for it to visit.
No.
And most times I've seen it recently, I've got to be honest, haven't seen it well populated.
But there's been people on it.
There have
it's not been
some
completely
people on it.
empty.
There's the driver, the conductor.
Yeah. No, when we went on it.
Yeah, there wasn't anyone
for
on
my
it.
video, we were the only passengers.
Yeah.
You did a video about it on your channel, which is called Balloon Chaser, and there was nobody.
I was
on
the
it.
only one on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but since then, I have seen people on it. So obviously, we've drawn a massive.
Between the two of us, we've
Yeah.
drawn a massive audience in there.
So that's a good video to watch. We've also done a video about, in a hypothetical situation, if Misteregg, myself, was deported from the country and told to get on a plane and leave, what were the 5 things that I would miss?
And we need to put Richard on the spot here.
Yeah.
If you were forced to leave Thailand, never come back, give us one thing that you'd really miss.
I'm just going to repeat, Phil, bum gun. I mean, it's just... it's just great.
Bum gun was my number 1, by the way.
Yeah. It's just great. I'm such a lazy bugger.
All these people who want to come back to Thailand because they miss the bum gun.
So for those people that don't know and are listening on Spotify or whatever, a bum gun is like it's like a bidet. It's like a bidet, sort of a spray that is in almost all toilets in Thailand. By the way, they haven't got them in places like Central. And I've been thinking about this, and the only reason I can think that they don't have bum guns in Central is because they must get homeless people going in there using them as showers. Am I right in that? Or
I think that's a
I'm
valid
not sure.
point.
Did they get past security? I don't know. They don't have them in Terminal 21 because they have those rather snazzy Japanese-style toilets where you get a warmed toilet seat and all sorts of controls. I think you can get like satellite TV on there or something like that.
But that's the thing, is it? Back home, if you go to a warm toilet seat back in the UK, you've got
slightly unfortunate. Yeah. So we've done that video.
Yep.
We've done a video about, which was quite successful, about, we already mentioned it, 5 things that women don't like about us.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Richard, anything women don't like about... I can't imagine there would be, but...
About me.
pink shirts,
Hey.
pink shirts.
Pink shirts. Do you know what? Actually, that's put me more on the spot than bum gun. But what do they hate about?
So you've got a lovely girlfriend at the moment.
Yeah.
I have to say she is so
Does
cute.
she not complain about anything?
She-
I mean, she's
no.
Thai, but she doesn't complain about anything. Are you sure?
Last night.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Strap on.
So she was
Strap
strap
on
on. Oh, we're not doing that one again, are we?
Oh, maybe
I still can't walk properly.
Well, you're the one talking about bum guns.
No. Well, so she got quite tired. It was around 1 o'clock, and I'm thinking, I'm just getting started here. So she went back to the room.
Had you got the old Barry White CD on? Candles. Rose petals on the bed.
As you do. But,
So you go back to the hotel. So you're out in a venue and you say,
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
go
I
back.
stay out. She goes back. That's the main. So she goes back. So I'm wanting to stay out and have a few more beers, and then I get back in, and honest to God, she was the most. It was quite cute actually. She was scared. She would bolt upright because she thought I was a ghost coming into the
Yeah.
into
I
the
can- I
hotel.
can believe that.
Had you got a white shirt on that day?
No. No, but the day before we'd gone to the cinema to watch The Nun. So, as you know, I don't know if any of you know, but Thai girls petrified
Yes.
of ghosts.
Yeah.
This, anything you could walk past a snake that could kill you in an instant,
Yeah,
not bothered. A ghost, my word.
Yeah.
But so and I got back into and the poor girl, bless her. And then, but it was my fault because I'm a ghost.
Because I had a really lovely Thai girlfriend when I first lived in Bangkok. She worked for Thammasat University, well educated, good background, everything absolutely perfect. And it took me a long time to persuade her to come back to my room and stay overnight. And finally, the moment was there. And the moment was just about to arrive. And she said, stop. I was like, not again, please. She
Did you
said,
say you haven't got your student uniform on? Did you
she
say?
said, do you mind closing the wardrobe, closing the closet door? Because I'm worried that a ghost might come in whilst we're doing it. And that was it. We
You
had to
should have
wait-
said no, but not that quick.
You know what I mean, 20 seconds later, I mean,
If
the
only,
ghost had been banished.
if only there was some kind of service where that you could have people come and maybe get rid of ghosts. I mean, what would that be called?
No idea, mate.
I mean, who are you going to call?
No idea. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay, so that video, 5 things girls don't like about us. The main one I talk about is the concept of face. And like I say on the video, I've been here for decades and I still don't really get... I get face, but I don't really get the strength of it and how important it is to Thai society. So we talk a little bit about that. And I think that's about it. All the videos we've done in the last few months. So please subscribe to Le Pub Pattaya if you haven't already. If you're listening on Apple podcasts or any other Amazon or also on Spotify. And just before we go, Balloon Chaser, you have your video channel as well.
I have my channel as well. So what have I done recently? I've gone out and looked at Two Price Thailand, which
Yep.
actually we did on Le Pub a couple of years back as well.
I think you did it a lot better.
Oh, that's very nice of you to
Yeah,
say so.
you
The
did,
viewing
yeah.
public doesn't agree with you, but nevertheless, that's not why we do it. We do it 'cause we
So
wanna
the
do it.
concept of that is if you go to a tourist attraction, a Thai will pay one price and a non-Thai, a foreigner or a tourist will pay another price.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's an investigation into that.
Yeah, so I went to half a dozen places around Pattaya and found out, do Thai people pay the same as particularly tourists? Because people who stay here long term, like we've got driving licenses or work permits or long-term visas, and we can get the reduced rate quite often. But in places like national parks, even then that doesn't work. And
Yeah.
it's often like double price.
And it's not just a
tourists.
case of even double pricing. Sometimes it can be 3 or 4 times the
Well,
price.
in fact, on the video that I made, which was down at Pattaya Floating Market, which should be attracting people back now because recently they had to close due to a terrible fire. But some of their things are 8 times as expensive for tourists as they are for Thais or locals. So it's still small money in some respects, but it is a big percentage.
The main thing that you do on your channel is looking at hotels, So what have you got in the pipeline for that?
Can I just jump in there,
Yeah.
Balloon Chaser?
Jump
Sorry,
in.
Phil.
Please do.
In line with that question, because I just wanted to shout out a video that you did about quite a few hotels, and there was one bit of advice which I think was key, is that now walk-in prices are not as cheap as what the online websites like Agoda. So I would heavily recommend look at Balloon Chaser's hotel reviews. They're great, and they'll give you
They're the
great
best.
price.
They're the best.
Thank you very much.
And I've just come from Koh Chang, so
I've got a video coming up that I've been to Koh Chang, and I've got another video coming up of a hotel not far from here, opposite Royal Garden, that does a combined spa and stay in a hotel.
ooh, very nice.
Yeah,
very
so
nice.
have a look at that.
Lovely. Right, that is about it for today. I'd want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you so much. Oh, classical music. That's, by the way, that is the clock guard machine that
Telling us to get off.
plays a little tune on the hour. No idea why. Thank you very much to our special guest, Richard.
Thanks, Phil.
Our very special guest, the cleaner. She couldn't make it this week, presumably. Is that why we've got Richard? Or?
I know the cleaner usually makes an
not?
entrance, but no, she stayed away.
That's
She
why I
stayed
had to
away.
wear pink.
Yeah. Seems fair, mate. You did
Richard-
a good job, though.
Thank you for coming back for a second time, I have to say.
For a first time. It's brilliant, yeah?
Yeah, excellent. And when's your next? Are you coming here before Christmas or?
No, unfortunately, I think Christmas time now. In my industry, Christmas is massive.
Yeah.
So I don't have enough time, unfortunately.
It must
So-
be really difficult getting into the Father Christmas outfit, actually.
Well, not weight-wise, as you can see. And the beard's coming. I just need
Is
to
that where the
paint it.
schoolgirl uniform sat on your lap came
How-
into it? I'm
how are
beginning
the-
to see it all now.
How are the reindeer? Are they all right? Excellent. So we'll see you next year.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to do part 3, part 2.
Yeah. And can I wish you a happy new year? And we'll see you in next year sometime. I'll have you back. You're quite good. I mean, everyone.
too
Well,
good,
the
though.
viewers,
All of our guests have been
they
good.
might say differently, but
All of our guests
you
have
know,
been good.
cheers, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Great.
And don't forget to subscribe to Le Pod Pattaya over on YouTube if you haven't done so already. But for me, Misteregg.
And Balloon Chaser.
I'm Richard.
See you later, folks. Thanks for
See ya.
watching. Bye.
Bye.